All right. Nathan Eovaldi.
I'm not feeling good about it.
Wow. You're starting to get a bad feeling.
I kind of am.
Because just time?
Just time. I saw something about the Braves. The Braves would kind of be enticing. Dodgers probably too. Max Fried. I'm kind of going down that avenue, I guess.
Well, all right. The Max Fried thing is just some guy throwing crap on a wall.
Okay.
I mean, it's possible, but Max Fried's going to make about the same that Nathan Eovaldi was. So who would you rather have? It's going to be a longer commitment for Fried.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go to that length? It's going to cost you a draft pick because he turned down a qualifying offer.
No, I'm not saying it's like the Rangers side of things. I think it's Evo's side of things.
I don't. I think you're not hearing a lot about Eovaldi, and I think that's a good thing because the Rangers keep their business quiet.
Yeah,
and so I think that there might be stuff under the works. I know that they've spoken to him multiple times. He's kind of letting the market play out a little bit, but there's been frequent communication between the two sides. What does that mean? Who knows? And who knows who else he's talking to? But I wouldn't close the. I don't like your negative vibes.
Oh,
I
just threw it out
don't really
there.
have
Yeah.
negative vibes. I don't feel as strong as I did when the last few times we talked about it.
I just think he's the guy they've won. I think and I
for
think
sure.
I think that they have the money to do it. So
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's like their side of things. I think it's him.
Well, and yeah, from their perspective, the old saying is the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Well, in this case, it would be the angel you know versus the devil you don't, because as a pitcher and as a guy on your team, he's like angelic, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about it many times before. Nathan Eovaldi does everything you could want. He's nasty Nate, so he's a bulldog on the mound, and he's a teacher, and he's a coach, and he's a best buddy, and he's a father figure. I mean, there's so much to like about him, which is why the Rangers have made him the absolute priority, and maybe why we haven't heard them, of course, like you say, Jeff, we don't hear much from them anyway. But, it seems like no movement really taking place on their next greatest priority, which is the aforementioned Kirby Yates.
Yeah, we talk, going back to the last segment, they got to have a guy. You know? And I asked somebody with the Rangers last week, you have the money to do both. They said, well, yes, we have the money, but it just depends on if Ray Davis is willing to spend it. And you can go both ways on this. I know John's not too happy about that one, but when the Rangers have asked for money, Ray Davis has usually given it to him. In certain, in circumstances where they make the presentation and say, "Hey, we need this guy. Give us the money," and he has done it. The luxury tax, he doesn't want to go over that. So if there's a way to wiggle it and make it work, maybe you have to trade somebody. Okay, that's fine. But I just and maybe Kirby Yates isn't their guy. Maybe they go find another guy and pay him $4.5.
Right.
Somebody flying under the radar again, and
like they did Kirby Yates last year.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a guy who follows me on the Twitter, and he said something like, they're just going to sign cheap guys coming off of injuries and hope for the best. And I was like, oh, like Kirby Yates.
Yeah.
It does work out every once in a while, guys.
Yeah.
So so we'll see about that, but I don't know. Fried's numbers are fantastic.
Yeah.
Throughout his career, the last few seasons, his ERA has been between 2 and 2.5 and 3. He did have an injury there. I think it was a leg injury, if I'm not mistaken. Pitches on a winning team, knows how to win games.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to like about Max Fried, and you kind of look around the division. How does a left-hander play in the division? You probably want a lefty against the Astros to minimize Tucker and Alvarez. I don't know about the Mariners. I don't really have to worry about their offense. They're terrible against everybody. The Angels aren't very good right now. So I don't know if a lefty's a good fit. But if the rest of the rotation is going to be DeGrom, Rocker, lighter gray. You probably want to get a different look in there.
Yeah,
and,
you do.
And, instead of all these power right-handers, get a lefty in there. You know, maybe it's Cody Bradford. I don't know, but maybe it's Max Fried.
I mean, you might like 2 lefties, honestly.
Sure.
Because
We
then
gotta
you go
switch it up
righty,
at
lefty,
some
righty,
point,
lefty,
fellas.
right? I mean, so you're throwing a different look at the other team, every other day. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's certainly, there's some wisdom, some conventional baseball wisdom to that. So,
And I just think with Kirby Yates, I think last year was his best year. By far, obviously.
no question.
But
well, I don't know, 19, he was really good.
Yeah, he made the All-Star team in 19, as
19.
well.
He was the closer of the year.
lower
Yeah.
lower ERA though this
Okay.
year. So I'm just saying, can you pencil that down for next season?
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, you don't know what he'll do, but again, his is a big sample size, right? It was the full season. I mean, he
no
took
doubt.
over as the closer in, mid-April, I think, or certainly by early May, and he didn't bat an eyelash. I mean, he was strong all season long. So all you have is I mean, it's one thing to look at all the numbers and all the data and all the, the empirical stuff. And then it's another to go, man, we watch the guy every day, right? Especially
The eye test.
especially for a guy like Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
More of an old school guy who's going to be like, he passes my eye test, the eyeballs like him, you know, that kind of thing.
Well, he does.
So,
I mean, he doesn't throw super hard, but his split finger is terrific. He doesn't walk a ton of guys.
right.
So, I mean, he doesn't beat himself, and he does know how to pitch. I know he had the injury years there, but, he's not a young guy. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Does that keep his salary down? But, so, yeah, you probably can't expect the 1.17 ERA again and the 1 blown save. But what if it's a 2.5 ERA and 4 blown saves?
Yeah,
Sure.
it's not
That's
bad.
still better than what you
Still-
got.
Still pretty happy with that, especially after the previous year when the Rangers had 63 save opportunities and blew 30 of them.
Blew 33.
No, blew
of them.
33. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. They blew 33 of them. Oh, my gosh.
We all silly like the mayor.